Seeing as we were talking about files that are in with the Shared With Me section today, I thought it'd be good to talk about sharing in general and what that looks like. So I'm going to go up to my Red Create section, and this gives me the options to create folders, a document, presentations, a spreadsheet, a form, or a drawing. Any one of these things can be shared with everybody. That includes folders. I'm just going to make a document for now. It's probably the most common use. And I am going to click up here in the upper right hand corner, the blue share button. You don't have to really put anything in a document to share it. So like if you want to create a collaborative document, like maybe you're creating a staff letter or you're creating some student work with a fellow colleague, and you want to start off with a blank document and then just begin the dialogue, you can go ahead and do that. The second that I click share, because I haven't named this document, it's recognizing that, and they want us to name it right away. So for this case, I'm going to call it Tech Wednesday. And let me do it, Tech Wednesday. Then click save. Now, the second I click save, because I click share, it wants to know who I want to share it with. By default, all of the files that we make are private. Only the people listed below can access them. Right now it's just me as the owner. I can change who's the owner of the document later if I want to. If I'm collaborating with two other colleagues and I'd like to make somebody else the owner of it, that means that that document would then be stored in their drive and they're the owner of it. They can share it with whoever they want to. They have full control over it. That's a nice feature to have down the road if you need to do that. One thing I want to look at right now is this section up here at the top, though, that says private. If I click change on that one, I have some options. I can make this document public on the web, which means that anybody that I want, that anybody who can come across my website, there's all kinds of different options on how I could post this, but usually it would be on the web. Anybody who comes across my website would be able to access it. They don't need to sign in. It's a document that isn't something that needs to be secure. There's no private information in there. It's just something maybe you want to put out for public purposes. A lot of teachers who do sharing of materials that they think would be useful to other teachers would make something public like that for that purpose. The second option is for anyone with a link. Let's say that you don't want people to have to sign in, but you want to make something available to a group of people. Maybe you're at a conference or something like that, and you're like, hey, I have this shared item. I'm going to put a link up for you. I'll email it to you, for example. That would make them accessible to that document because they happen to have the link. The third option is to make the document, and this would be, again, if you're putting it on a website, for example, only accessible to people at westg.org. That means anybody with our email addresses, including students, could then access that document. The next one is people at westg.org with a link. This would be if you put a link on a website, if you send a link out in email. This is a great way to handle it for students. If you want to do a mass emailing to your class, for example, you could make that accessible to your class because they happen to have that link. The last one, and probably the one we're going to most commonly use, is private. Normally, we don't want anybody and everybody to have access to our documents. We only want the people that we're going to invite. This is the one that's the default, and it's got a lock by it, and it's there for a reason, because usually that's the way we want our documents handled. All right, so I'm going to click Save on that, and I'm back off in this section right here. I now have the option down here to invite people to the document. For the purposes of today, I'm just going to put in another personal email address that I have, my regular personal Gmail in there. Now that I've got that in there, it gives me the option over here to allow that person to edit or comment or view. Editing means that they have full privileges to be able to change the document. But if I just want people to be able to view it, I click on Can View. What that means is they can see my document, but they can't make any changes to it. So if it's something where I've typed this up, but I want to share it so that way they can see it, give me comments, I can click on Can View and send that over, and I don't have to worry about them making any changes to my document. They do have the option to make a copy, which I'll take care of in a second. I'm just going to click Save right now. Before I click Save, actually, there's one other thing I want to point out. Down here, you'll see a checkbox that says Notify People via Email. Any of the staff members that you put in here or students that you put on there, you can click down here and add a message. You can type a personal message. I am sending you this document so you can make a copy. And I'm going to click Share and Save. And because I put it in the View setting, they can't actually make any changes to my document. But I do want to show you how to, and actually this is giving me a little warning, which you're probably going to see if you try sharing documents with anybody who's not a part of westg.org. You'll get this one that says, are you sure you're sharing to waylandteacher@gmail.com, who is not in Google Apps organization this belongs to. And I would have the option then to click yes or no. I want it to go, so I'm clicking yes. After I've done that, now besides my name as the owner, I also have my other account as a viewing account. So I can click Done. Now, I wanted to tell about that one option to make a copy of it. When you get a document normally, let's say I've typed some things in. Okay, I'm happy today. Put that in there. In that other account that I'm talking about, they would be able to see that I typed that in there, but they wouldn't be able to make any changes. So the best option in this case to do is, if you want to be able to make changes like that for yourself, you would click File, Make a Copy. When you make a copy of a document that's been shared with you, you can call it whatever you'd like, and that new document is able to be edited by you. So that's a good way if you want to share things with friends. You can share your original copy, but make it a view-only copy, so that way they are forced to make a copy for themselves. They can share that information that you were kind enough to give them, but they're not actually ruining or making any changes to the original document that you have. This is really useful if you make templates and you feel that fellow staff members would benefit from using the same template that you have. That's kind of a cool way to do sharing. So anyway, these are just some of the options for sharing. These do apply to folders. You can share folders the same way. The cool part about sharing folders is when you share a folder, anything that you put into the share folder is automatically added to all of the people who are on the share listing. So that's kind of a cool way to share people's information as well. Anyway, I hope that you found this helpful. If there's anything that I didn't cover in this, or if you want to go deeper into things like folder sharing or things like that, please email me. I'm always happy to help and go beyond anything that we do in these after-school sessions. I try to keep the material that I cover short, so I'm not hitting you with too much, but also I look at it as a starting point to conversations. So feel free to email me at sean.whalen@westg.org at any point in time, and I'm happy to customize any of the things that I'm doing here to your classroom needs.